Hola, buenos días. Nico.
First, I need me 6 foot plus. You gotta be working out. You gotta have tattoos. You gotta be dark skinned. I don't like talking to light skinned
Well,
shit.
goodbye, bitch. Back, bitch.
Bitch, you
described
know
me at this
that.
point.
You know that.
You want Big Frankie at this point.
Okay, anyways, so also you have to have something going for yourself. You just can't be broke. That's it.
So today we're going to be talking about something that's very interesting. Essentially, we're going to be talking about fetishization and how it is not a cure for colorism. What do you mean? Essentially, I hope you watch that video that I put at the front and put it at the front for my own health. But essentially, the guy was talking about how he prefers to only date dark-skinned men, but the man has to be tall, he has to be athletic, he has to be muscular, he has to be tatted up, and he has to have money. He has to have financial wealth. So someone that I know, Just Henry, he's actually a very intellectual person. I actually listen to his discussions because he talks about varied things and I enjoy him. He essentially calls it out because a lot of light-skinned people were upset that this man in particular said he doesn't date other light-skinned men and that he's only interested in dark-skinned men. And it is true. I saw a lot of light-skinned people retweeting that. And he was saying that if the kid wasn't desirable, this opinion wouldn't have mattered. And that's where I want to disagree for the sole purpose of I've seen people who aren't on society's totem poles or viewed as attractive by a mass amount of people say that they only prefer light-skinned men, say that they only prefer white women, exoticals, etc. And y'all flame them up. So y'all flame them up. So I don't agree with that part, but I definitely do see how people are upset more so, especially the light-skinned girls. Because, you know, a lot of light-skinned people, they don't actually talk on colorism because they do benefit from it. I understand that colorism affects both light-skinned and dark-skinned people completely differently, but it still affects them nonetheless, such as dark-skinned people, they could be denied job opportunities. It's not only restricted to romantic options. They could be denied greater advancements in their personal life. We can also see how light-skinned people, especially light-skinned men, are feminized because light skin within the Black community is usually viewed as feminine, while dark skin is viewed as masculine, which also adds to the aggressor archetype of dark-skinned men. So colorism affects both sides, not equally. Once again, because one, I got teased on the playground because I had loose textured hair. The other, longer incarceration periods. More discrimination just off of face value. Like it's connected, but it's different. And I wanted to get that out the way because I know light-skinned people that'd be like, I was bullied by a bunch of dark-skinned people in high school or middle school. And I'm like, girl, we were all bullied as a kid, but at the same time, their version of colorism affects them more in the long run. It still affected you in your childhood. It probably still affects you in your adulthood, but it literally locks people out of opportunities to better their lives. So that's where we're gonna have the conversation of, oh, colorism affects both sides. It does, but not equally. Moving on. So essentially the person that he's describing is somebody that's already on the totem pole, especially in the Black and brown gay communities. A dark-skinned man has to be tall, he has to be fit, he has to be muscular, he has to be masculine, he has to be tatted, he has to have money to be viewed as an attractive partner within our community. That's the image that is consistently put on the totem pole. When it comes to light-skinned men, we've seen feminine, we've seen masculine, we've seen etc, etc, etc. They get a variety due to privilege. So, when I saw this video where that kid was essentially uplifting a specific archetype of dark-skinned man that we are actively trying to dissect, because we're trying to disrupt that you have to fit this one rigid mold to be viewed as attractive within our community. So we're trying to say you can be dark-skinned and be feminine and still be seen as attractive. You can be dark-skinned and you could be slim, you could be a larger person, and you are still worthy, you are still attractive. So seeing him uplift a specific archetype that we're actively trying to dismantle did not move me whatsoever. And I understand that some dark-skinned people within the comments and within Henry's thread were saying that they're just upset because one of their own doesn't want them, and oh, finally we're getting some shines, finally we're getting some praise. And I wanted to say, y'all don't fit that archetype. And that's not like shots to anybody that was saying it, but it's just the man that he's describing, the specific archetype that he's putting on a pedestal, because he did not say, oh, I just need a dark-skinned man, which in itself is still colorist because it cuts off an entire half of the community. But at the same time, it's not my fight. It's not my battle to say you can't prefer dark-skinned men just because I cannot change who you have sex with or who you find attractive. That's not my battle. I'm not gonna go that extra mile. But people were saying, oh, well, they're just mad that they find a dark-skinned man attractive, but you don't fit this archetype. Like the archetype that he is putting on a pedestal, the archetype that has always been on this pedestal. You're not masculine. You're not muscular. You're not tall. Some do have tattoos. Some of the people in that comment section did have tattoos. But y'all are not fitting this specific archetype that he wants. And one of my friends, Steven, actually went into detail and said it's actually fitting into a more dangerous fetishization area because he is specifically looking for an archetype of black man that is usually seen as the aggressor, that is usually seen as the dominant top. He's basically trying to play the dynamic of light-skinned femininity with dark-skinned masculinity. And we've seen that time and time again in the community, and I don't understand why this time, now that it's a light-skinned man with light eyes and loose textured hair, etc., saying it, that y'all are okay with being fetishized, because now this is positive representation, when this is still not a broad representation, because this is what we've seen time and time again. But definitely drop your own opinions down below. How do you feel about this conversation? Do you think that it's okay that he only wants one specific type of dark-skinned man? Do you believe that people in the comments were just overreacting and it's just a preference? Because I've heard preferences used as the excuse as to why people just outright cut other people out. And at the end of the day, like I said earlier, I cannot change you. I cannot change your preferences. I can just sit down and have a discussion with you and find out where these preferences are rooted at. Because a lot of these preferences are rooted in colorism, featureism, etc., etc. How do you feel about preferences that specifically exclude dark-skinned people, specifically exclude light-skinned people? Do you believe that as a community, especially black and brown, because we all come in various shades, we should just be open to dating all of each other, Because I've dated dark-skinned, I've dated light-skinned, I've dated white passing Latino, I've dated a lot. But essentially, I've been around the block, so I'm not one of those people that's just like foreign to this concept. I've heard it time and time again, especially because, like I said, the dude that was like, I don't date light-skinned people, we matched on Tinder. So obviously he does have interest in lighter shades. It's just he's saying I need to be with a specific dark-skinned archetype of man, But definitely drop your opinions down below. Do you think this is positive representation, or do you believe this is just blatant fetishization of something we've already seen on the totem pole? Do you think that if he had said, I just date dark-skinned men in general, it would have been a more broad and accepting message? But yeah, definitely drop your opinions down below. Boop. And once again, a quick thank you to all my patrons on Patreon, and a quick shout out to my third eye tier patrons. Your support means everything to me and helps me do this a lot more smoothly. I will also be listing this week's live stream topic in case anybody wants to join in on the fun. I will see you guys there.